Francis Lunas Aristeas here with Lunar Light Entertainment. I just got a message on the booby tube, the tubey boob tube, that Jordan Peterson had written a new article, uh, and here's what it says. It says, so I got an update from the Jordan Peterson because I sub his YouTube page. Never much coming out of it though, except for these kind of ads. So here's what it says. It says, I wrote a new article on the Telegraph. Go check it out. And it's entitled, "We Are Sacrificing Our Children on the Altar of a Brutal Far Left Ideology." Sub subtech sub subordinate heading subheading: the medical profession is crumbling in response to radical transgender activities. So I wanted to read the article. He just published it on the 16th of June at 5 p.m. And today's already like the 19th of June. So this is already 3 days old, but he's just now updating his YouTube to reflect it. And so here's the article. Here's how the article starts. I really wanted to read it, right? There is good evidence that many ancient societies sacrificed children to their gods. Parents in ancient Phoenician colonies in Carthage, Sicily, Sardinia, and Malta slew their offspring prior to cremating them, hoping that the gods would hear their voices and bless them. ... And it says to continue reading, log in to the Telegraph. If you log in, you can enjoy unlimited access. So it won't let me read the article unless I log in. So I thought, okay, subscribe. I'll do that. And it says, clarity at your convenience. Turn our award-winning journalism anywhere, anytime. Make sense of the news. Digital, breaking news, analysis, opinion, and more. A free trial that's just $100 a year afterwards, 100 pounds sterling. And I thought, oh, in order to read his article, I have to pay $100 up front, pounds sterling, to be a member of a website that I'll probably never look at a second time. Or there's a second option, 1 month free, and then 13 pounds sterling per month afterwards, or 199 pounds sterling per year. Okay, so Mr. Peterson thinks that he's got something important to say. And now we've got other family packs, 17 pounds per month or 259 per year. So no one time, like I can't just read the article for like £1 or something. You know, I have to fork out 100 pounds sterling, which is how much? So to be able to read Peterson's article, I have to pay up front 100 pounds. So I thought, okay, I'm not going to do that. And it's not that what he's saying is not necessarily important, which I'm sure it probably is groundbreaking, and it's really going to help change things. Yeah. And so I thought, okay, maybe I could find it online for free. All right, I can sure find porn online for free. He says, I wrote an article for the Telegraph. And then you click on the link, and it costs big dollar. So Jordan B. Peterson. Jordan B. Peterson. Telegraph. 16 June 2022. See if we can at least do some research on it. What do you think of that? Okay, so it looks like we're showing. And there's the Telegraph, and there's the article heading. No mention of how much it costs to read it. Read and share the article. YouTube, that's the mention of it. Telegraph article on Mumsnet. He's interesting, but no friend to women. That's totally misconstruing the man. Oh, feminism section, gender discussions. Shared without comment. I agree with everything he said. As a trained psychotherapist, I'm familiar with TRA trope. This has been enhanced by the fact that our main trainers are trans and extremely, and now I have to accept. We need your consent. May store and access personal data like cookies and other technologies on your device and process the data to personalize your experience. Some partners may process your personal data on the basis of legitimate interest. Can I skip it? Manage consent. Reject all. Reject. Let's see if I can stay connected. Okay, now here's the article. I don't think it will open without paying for it, but let's check. So even if you log into a website these days, you're going to pay one way or another. They're literally going to use your hard drive to host their programs, which is going to interconnect you and further throttle your bandwidth. He has posted a video of himself reading the article on YouTube. Really? So that's what I want. And that might have been that YouTube link, might have actually been that. Man. So here's the article, I think. Yeah. I don't want the free trial. I just want to read the freaking article. Oh, see it locked up. They're redirecting me. Yeah, see, you have to do the free trial. You have to give them your credit card information in order to keep reading it. And look, now I won't even respond. Cancel. Yeah, so you can't even access their website unless you agree to let them use your server to host their content. So I wonder if this is him reading the article. Maybe. If so, then I don't have to pay £100 sterling towards the Telegraph, right?
Hello, everyone. I'm in Bucharest, Romania, about 2/3 of the way through the European leg of my Beyond Order tour, which seems to be going very nicely. I've spent some time over the last few weeks, it's June 16th, 2022, by the way, writing a couple of articles for the Telegraph, one of which I'm going to read to you today.
Good deal.
Called Butchers and Liars. We are sacrificing our children.
He's been doing a lot of crying recently. I guess he's pretty sad. Yeah, we've come into the Pisces moon. I see you out there in Happy Land right now. I see someone out in the Happy Land. Let me check real quick. Mary at Sea Level says, "Good morning, Frank. 6:20 a.m. here. How you doing?" I'm doing good. It's 5:20 p.m. here. Moon in Pisces at 19 degrees. Pisces power, yeah, all right. Frank, what are you trying to do? I don't get it. Jordan Peterson, something, something. Ah, there he is. He looks 10 years older. What the heck? Oh, don't worry. Oh no, I don't want to cry. Let's see if he's crying. Let's check him out. What's an MLI? Mother-in-law. Good God, what horror. I can only imagine.
On the altar of a malicious far-left ideology. The medical profession is crumbling in response to radical transgender activists. There's good evidence that many ancient societies sacrificed children to their gods. Parents in ancient Phoenician colonies in Carthage, Sicily, Sardinia, and Malta slew their offspring prior to cremating them, hoping that the gods would hear their voices and bless them. We are rightly appalled by this, though sometimes I wonder whether we understand child sacrifice far more than we'd like to admit.
So what do you think so far? I know on the boob tube here, you're not supposed to. Why is this not responding? So frustrating, man. It's so hot here today too. I know you're not supposed to look at too much of it without giving some commentary. So what do you guys think? So far, all he's just said pretty obvious shit. I don't see anything of an enlightening nature yet. He's given us a little historical perspective on some of the ancient cultures. They used to sacrifice children to Moloch. And mother-in-law was just going on and on to me about how it's terrible too. I schooled her on germ theory. She's all warmed up for stationary. Yeah, good luck with that one. All right, good luck with that, Mary. You're funny. Let's see if he's got anything else to say.
I saw a video the other day featuring an American surgeon bragging that he had performed more than 3,000 double mastectomies on young women who had paid for gender reassignment.
Oh, good God. Double mastectomies? Does that mean what I think it means? Does that mean that these gals had their breasts, they call it a top, right? There's a top and a bottom, transgender. So they had their breasts removed. Is that what that means? I can't read all of these comments, Mary, but I can post them on the video here. But I can't actually say what you're saying. So yeah, that's crazy, huh? Yeah, the mastectomy, mammary glands cut off. What a nightmare! What a horrifying nightmare! So glad I've got my kids here in China, and at least they're protected from the insanity of the West right now. Good God, let's get a little deeper into it, man.
Individuals confused, one might say encouraged, by those who profit from it into believing that their adolescent emotional trials can be cured and happiness reign forever if they subject themselves to this brutal practice. And it is brutal, a process that often includes not only the aforementioned mastectomies, but other appalling surgical processes. Orchiectomy, that's castration in blunter language, the removal of the uterus, the demolition of the musculature of the forearm to make what is not a penis, but must be referred to as such. All of that. For someone purporting to be a physician.
Get into it a little more. it's absolutely brutal and savage what they're doing to these kids in the name of transgenderism. I mean, what a horrible. I think it's Peterson that subjected me to viewing one of those surgeries and like cutting off the penis and opening the boy up and going in and like removing all of the organ material, like prostate and everything that's connected to his hormonal production. And I thought, that is literally child abuse. I mean, let's break it down. It's more than child abuse. It's physical abuse that shouldn't be legal for anyone, even a consenting adult. That type of surgery should absolutely be outlawed. You shouldn't have the right to do that to yourself. That's a level of what's the word? Self abuse? No, like, that's a level of insanity and absolute retardation that goes above and beyond anything I could ever even imagine. I don't doubt that, Miss Mary Moon. Again, like I said, I can't repeat that. I think even maybe some of the stuff I've said, but I'm basically reiterating what Peterson has said here. Let's go a little further.
To perform this on children, to me at least, seems like something worthy of a prison sentence. Whatever happened to the doctrine expressed by the ancient language as primum non nocere? First, do no harm. The Hippocratic Oath has been replaced by a delusion, a belief that can be summarized as, by blocking the puberty of children and then surgically altering them, we are only restoring what is theirs by right. A child's feelings are the final arbiters of their reproductive destiny, and any attempt to contest their gender identity risks increasing their proclivity for suicide.
No, that's absolutely the opposite of the reality. These folks that go through this type of insanity, it's basically a brainwashing insanity and gender fluidity. There is no such thing. There's boys and girls. And to obfuscate that and confuse children who are already confused growing up and just need to be kids is a violation of human rights.
Lies. 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 Then, butchery.
Savage butchery. That I agree with Peterson here, that this should be punishable by removal of your medical license. And in my humble opinion, depending on the amount of these surgeries you've done, life prison, at least if you've done even one on someone under the age of 25, I would say, because I don't think you have cognitive capacity until you're you don't have full cognitive capacity until you're 25. So anyone under the age of 25 that's undergone one of these surgeries, the physician should be, if it was one, they should get removal of their license to practice. If it was for each additional one, I think should be a life sentence in prison. And then if it exceeded, like, I would say three strikes, you're out, it should be immediate execution, capital punishment.
Changing standards. Psychologists, those in my own personal field of medicine, have also surrendered to this groupthink. The American Psychological Association's Task Force on Guidelines for Psychological Practice with Transgender and Gender Nonconforming People, TGNC, insists that psychologists and other professional counselors offer trans-affirmative care, starting with such niceties as displaying TGNC affirmative resources in waiting areas. Practitioners are also asked to examine how their language, e.g., use of incorrect pronouns and names,
this one, the incorrect pronouns and names argument, this has kind of been at the heart of Peterson's message from the beginning. It's like the main point he's arguing is that they're taking away our freedom of speech. We have a right to say what we want about these things and to directly oppose them. It's our right to protect our children the way that we see fit. And to be forced into this, like through legal means, to use double speak and Orwellian language that doesn't reflect reality is absolutely wrong, and we should oppose it. Yeah, I can agree with that right there, Miss Mary Moon. I have a older brother that did pediatrics, and he said that the Hippocratic Oath didn't apply. Like, you learn in the first year that the Hippocratic Oath is to be circumvented by big pharma and whatever they're pushing at the time. And this is not my opinion. This is the testimony of a guy I respect, older brother who studied for 12 years in surgery and pediatrics and went to Pepperdine University, graduated with an MD in both surgery and pediatrics, but decided to practice pediatrics. And he said he could basically teach me in 6 weeks up to the level of what they permit him to do as a doctor. He gets told what to do, and he can't practice medicine, and he can't try to save people. That's what he told me. Yeah, it's absolutely horrifying. Horrifying, Miss Mary Moon. Let's look at a little more. I have to interrupt it occasionally because I don't want to get in trouble with the algorithm.
May reinforce the gender binary in overt or subtle and unintentional ways. These guidelines first read like a manual of indoctrination written by Marxist ideologues, and second, like a document designed to undermine and destroy the practice of therapy itself. But at an alarming rate, these guidelines have transformed themselves into punitive laws governing what a psychologist or counselor may say and think in relation to their clients.
They're not just trying to undermine and destroy that. They're trying to undermine and destroy natural law and the entire normal pattern of mammalian behavior.
Let me make myself perfectly clear. Speaking as a professional, whether in America, Britain, or anywhere, it is not the place of a therapist to affirm or conversely to deny the identity of anyone whom they admit into their care.
Yeah, so one of the big arguments that I've heard is that the whole time they're grooming them into these behaviors. Yeah, I agree with that, Miss Mary Moon. I can't say that, but I can agree with you in my own humble opinion.
People come to see a therapist often after long and painful deliberation because they are suffering, confused, or both. The job of that therapist is to listen, to question, and to proceed with due caution, neither providing cheap advice and thereby stealing their clients' successes or heaping failure upon them, nor assuming special knowledge of the proper outcome for a given individual. There is simply
really all they need to do is try to guide them towards wellness. They shouldn't try to covertly brainwash them into a transgender reality that is just I mean, look at the amount of tragedy that's going to result from these things.
No way I would ever tell a 15-year-old adolescent that she is absolutely correct if sometimes she feels more masculine than feminine, however that feeling might emerge, and that if she feels that surgery is the answer, then recommend hormones that day.
Well, we need to address this immediately. It shouldn't even be a situation where surgery to change their sexuality is even an option. Like I said, they're trying to push for, you got to be 21 to buy a handgun or whatever. You should have to be 25 before you can make a decision like this. In fact, their hormones shouldn't even be tampered with. Uh, that's the highest level of insanity that I've ever heard. Miss Mary Moon, right there, what you wrote. Yeah, I've tried to check out Odyssey. I recently opened a page on Odyssey. You could probably find it under Frank Monday. Um, it's not letting me really do much though. Like here, check it out. This is Odyssey, right? And this is my new channels, and it's called Frank Monday at Lunar Light Entertainment. And um, it won't let me sync my YouTube channel because this Frank Monday doesn't have uh, 300 subs. You have to have at least 300 subs. And then I put this video on here and I click on it and it won't even load. Like it'll just stay on this loading for like an hour. And then any other video I click on will load immediately. So even Odyssey is not legit. Like they're letting the message get through that they want, but they're not letting everyone play equally. Like for example, here's Brother Nathaniel. I like to watch him, and his will load right away. Watch, see, immediately, it already loaded. Did you see the difference? Whereas my video won't load at all, even though I've already been on Odyssey for like 3 or 4 days now. Yeah, no, it's not wonky. It's throttling. It's that they're allowing certain content to get through and other content they're not allowing. So Odyssey is not a solution, at least for me as an individual user. And neither is BitChute, and neither is Rumble, and neither is Rockfin. They all do the same thing.
I would instead spend many weeks, even perhaps many months or years, listening to her unwrap her story, using caution as my watchword, and help her to come to some thorough and well-developed understanding of both her autobiographical history and her destiny. That is not affirmation, and neither is it denial. How could I possibly dare to do either when someone has come to me because they are mixed up and desperate, a state of twinned experience indicating a profound confusion about identity itself?
Yeah, so I don't think there's a reason to listen to the whole thing. I mean, he's going to pontificate on it a little further, and will will be neither better or worse for having listened to him, because he's only preaching to the choir with most of us, right? I mean, he's just speaking common sense, and we're not going to dispute his common sense. But I think it's even darker than I thought it was. Like, I think a therapist's job is to deny and affirm a little bit in coaxing them towards their biological inheritance, and be like, well, you're a young lady and you're feeling a little more masculine sometimes. that's okay. Maybe you want to develop some masculine traits, but you need to remember first and foremost that biologically you're a girl, and you should try to work towards, whatever you embody to be feminine characteristics. And I mean, imagine the amount of insane asylums they used to have. And if you just acted hysterical, they would throw you into an insane asylum. And if you had musings like Lovecraft, Lovecraft got committed a couple of times. His father got committed, his mother got committed. I mean, you got to realize that these guys are willing to do whatever they want to fuck with society. I got you, Mary. I'm happy to hear that. I'm glad you've had good experience with Odyssey. Explain to me a little bit, if you can, Mary. What is the situation with like the Bitcoin service on Odyssey? It's called, what is it called? This thing, the LBRP or whatever, LYBR, their little money system. Because I've noticed that if I wanted to live stream on their platform, they will charge me a certain amount of their little in-house credits. Yeah, they're giving out lobotomies like routine operations these days. You guys all know that I had a lobotomy. I mean, that's not what it was. It was an aneurysm. I had a polyp on my brain, but they cut my fucking head open to clip off that polyp because they said that if it pops, then I could have internal brain bleeding. And so it's like, why did my brain develop a polyp all of a sudden? Um, and it happened right when the 5G got turned on all over town. It's like, yeah, I know there's no coincidences, right? You guys turn on extremely low frequency electromagneticity, and suddenly my brain is developing polyps, and you have to cut my fucking head open to save me. No, it was 2 years ago. It was right before I started live streaming. I waited about 6 weeks after I had my surgery, and then I started really going heavy on FM radio live streaming. Yeah, too many variables. Absolutely. There's no way to figure it out. Like I was reading about Luke, what was his name? The Irish singer that was dead at 44, and he had a similar situation. Um, he was a heavy alcoholic, and I wasn't a hardcore alcoholic, but I did drink a bit. But he had migraines his whole life, and then he ended up with brain cancer and brain hemorrhaging and a brain tumor and aneurysms, and was dead by 44. And that was back in 1984, so there wasn't any 5G back then. And lots of people I love and appreciate have same thing has happened to them. Edgar Allan Poe dead at 46, H.P. Lovecraft dead at 46, JFK dead at 46, all from similar causes. The head explodes. Of course, JFK's head exploded because somebody put a bullet in his skull. But what was that guy's name that was the Irish singer who was dead at. I just did a video on him. Luke what? I can't remember now. Luke Kelly. That was his name. Luke Kelly. Yeah, I just went over this article. Um, Are you talking about my aneurysm and my subsequent surgery? Is that what you're talking about, Mary? Is that what you're asking about? Yeah, if you're willing to look into that, that would be amazing. Okay, it it happened on when was it? So what are we in now? We're in 2022. Yeah, so it hasn't been 2 years yet. It was the day that it happened, or at least a month. It was October, um, October, somewhere around October something, 2020. So like I think it was October 8th, 2020 is when I got sick. I started having neck pains and my neck seized up, and I laid in bed for like 2 weeks and I couldn't move. I thought I was going paralyzed. And October, November, December, I had my surgery on December 5th. And the only reason after 2 weeks of being like near dead, I started going back to work and working and telling everyone, complaining about my neck being stiff and having a serious headache. But I worked for the rest of October, November, and then at the end of November, my eye went dead. It the iris first blasted out, like dilated, and then it started to flop over, and then it just shut. And that happened for about 3 days. So that started on like December 2nd, which is actually my brother's birthday, who had died that year. My brother died in 2020. It's 2022 now. Yeah. So he had died in May that year. And then on his birthday, it struck me and it almost popped. And they said there had been some bleeding, that the aneurysm did hemorrhage. And so I went to like all different kinds of doctors to try to figure out what was going on, and finally got a full brain CAT scan. And they said, yeah, that I had an aneurysm on my brain and it was putting pressure on the optic nerve. And they said that um, that if it popped, I would be dead within 24 hours. And so they did brain surgery. And December 5th, 2020 is when I had that surgery. They took out a big piece of my skull right here and opened my head up and then clipped the polyp and then put my skull back on. So I got a giant scar right here on my head. Yeah, that's more than I really wanted to talk about on this live stream. What I wanted to talk about was Jordan Peterson's latest article about sacrificing children to Moloch. So we went too far afield. That's okay. Yeah, it's funny because I was reading a lot of Lovecraft, and when in the gate of the Silver Key, um, the guy goes through the gate of the Silver Key in October. That's when he transitions from his ordinary life into the dreaming world. And right when I read about that, I was reading about Lovecraft, and I was telling my students that Lovecraft died the same year at my age, at 46. I was 46 at the time. And I said, I hope that by studying Lovecraft and, teaching you guys about some of his short stories, I said, I hope I don't die because of that. And then my neck got stiff and I was joking around about it for 2 months while I had a bleeding aneurysm in my head. And then I almost went through the gate of the Silver Key with Lovecraft. And my wife thought it was because of my brother had just died like 5 months previous to that. And he was 47, 46, 47, same age as Lovecraft. And she's like, I think it has something to do with psychic resonance, your brother trying to pull you into the world beyond so you can join him. And I think there's something to that because he wasn't buried properly and stuff. And so she was very superstitious about that. But anyway, yeah. I got you see my chart here? That's the chart you made for me. All right, yeah. So that's all I wanted to. It's so hot in this room, man. I need to go back in the other room where there's air conditioner. Um, Thanks for tuning in. It's good to see you, Miss Mary Moon. I forgot to play with the stuff here. Um, Take good care of yourself. I will see you in the abodes of the future. Stay well out in Happy Land. Try to stay cool, right? Because it's getting hot, man. The solstice approaches. I wish we could have a bonfire and a party out under the star-filled sky for the solstice, but I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, let me know if you find out anything interesting about that event. And I will see you in the abodes of the future. As above, so below. Do good magic. Until next time. 再见。